do they have any fears or anxieties? Are they afraid that they're going to fail? Are they anxious about showing up at the gym and they hadn't come for a couple of days? Looking at those reasons, because maybe there's ways that we can problem solve those, like taking a friend.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ever wonder why it's so hard to stick to your goals, even the ones you really care about? That's exactly what we're talking about today with my guest, Melissa Gray. Melissa is a licensed clinical social worker, ADHD certified specialist, and the founder of 𝐬𝐿 Counseling in Fulshear, Texas, with degrees from Texas A&M and UT Austin, plus over 20 years of experience in hospitals, mental health systems, and private practice. She's seen how our internal world impacts every part of our external one. We're talking today about something we all struggle with, how to set goals that actually matter, how to stop saying I don't have time, and how to create structure and routines that help, not hinder, your growth. Melissa's insights are practical, grounded, and delivered with the care of someone who's helped thousands navigate real-life challenges. Melissa, what would you tell those who say they want to start working out, but genuinely believe they don't have the time to do so?
Well, hi, Brian. Thanks for having me. If somebody told me that, I would probably ask them what their priorities are and see how important it is for them to be working out, and kind of evaluate if it's high on their priority list, low on their priority list, see where it is, and maybe rearrange those priorities a little bit, because what's more important than your physical and mental health, right? And when you work out, that does benefit your mental health as well as your physical health. So we'd probably look at some priorities. If they were struggling with that and not really finding any time still after the priorities were set, we would probably go into maybe a fixed commitment calendar where they basically write down all of their fixed commitments. That's like taking the kids to school. That's having a meeting with your boss every Monday morning, 8 to 9, writing those things down, then looking at the open gaps and seeing if we can't find a place where they could consistently add that exercise. So that would be a fixed commitment calendar. That's a tool that you could use. Or we would take a time audit where they, for a few days, maybe write down what they're doing every 30 minutes to an hour, and then look back and see if there's some time wasters like social media. Lots of times people don't realize how long they're on social media. It could be you're thinking it's 1 hour when it's really 5 hours, because time can fly and we kind of lose track. It's called time blindness when we're on social media sometimes. So we could use a time audit and kind of evaluate that. Another thing would maybe be just simply writing it on the calendar and making it a public or shared calendar so that everybody knows, hey, I am using this time for exercise. So it's on your personal calendar, your shared calendar, and then most likely that time's going to become available because everybody knows that you're working out during that time.
Yeah,
those are
got
things
it.
to begin with somebody.
Okay, so you started with talking about priorities and and what are the priorities, and do you get into the why, the what's your why? Why are we doing certain things? So for example, I want to be a great husband and dad, right? Well, how do I mean, I need to do like a million things, I feel like, to be a great husband and
Well,
dad.
yeah, we all have high expectations, right?
Right. So, when I've got, how do I balance that calendar, I guess? Because what are all the reasons to work out? I mean, I want to live longer, right? How do I balance the all the things that go into that, or being a dad, or being a husband, how do I balance all of that? Because there are a million things.
Again, it goes back to your priorities. What's most important to you? And you may need to get out a piece of paper and actually list. Maybe there's a number system that you use,
Okay.
1 to 10 or so. Low priority 1, 10 priority, or 10 being your high priority. You could go through and rate the different areas. Like if you're talking about being a great husband, how does that rank against your physical mental health? Evaluate if your physical mental health needs to be moved up in order to be a better father or husband. Yeah. So those are, that's just one kind of technique that you could use in that situation.
Okay. And then when we look at, we look at all ways that I'm using my time. I feel like me scrolling through social media for about 2 hours a day. I feel like that really helps my mental health. That
Okay.
lets me break away from life. Is that more beneficial or less than beneficial than actually going to sleep or connecting with friends or working out? Is there a balance there that I can? It's like I know that drinking a glass of wine uh, 4 times a day is not the best thing for my health, but yet I really want to. So how do I balance that?
Yeah. Okay. So, basically, if you are wanting to scroll on social media, I would think it probably depends most on the individual.
Okay.
Are you becoming upset when you scroll on social media, or is it actually helping you relax? Is it helping you to decompress from a stressful day? Are you kind of checking out and that's how you're charging your internal battery, just kind of a mindless scroll through social media? Sometimes that can be beneficial, but if you're looking at what everybody else is doing, it starts to make you sad or like feeling pressure to keep up with the Joneses. That would be a negative impact. So weighing if it's a pro or a con for you, and maybe it depends on the particular day or your mood, if it's going to be positive or negative. It just depends on how it strikes you. I would not say that 100% social media is negative for everybody. No. I do think that there's a lot of people that they can just kind of mindlessly scroll through it, have a specific time that they're going to be on it, and then they get off of it. Other people might go in, become extremely emotional, stressed, or anxious and just go down that digital rabbit hole and be in there forever. That would be a negative. So it depends on the individual. And I think if everybody kind of seriously and honestly answers those questions, they could figure that one out for themselves. If social media for 2 hours is a pro or a negative.
Okay. I would say I might disagree with you on that. Yeah, well, because I was just as you were speaking and giving kind of some examples,
Yeah.
I was thinking, it might be useful to see someone such as yourself for like a 30-minute, not a like a long, not but a here's let me scroll through social media in front of you for 30 minutes. And then you're talking about a self audit. My experience with people like working out at least is self audits aren't very good. So like I'm terrible at diagnosing my own golf swing, much less fixing it. Um, I would bet that if I were to sit on your right in front of your desk, right, and scroll through my social media while you asked me questions like, "How are you feeling?" Uh, as you're scrolling through all the people who are in a different political party as you, how does that? What is that doing? Why are you sweating, Brian? Why do you have a
Right.
look of anger on your face? Have you had any of those conversations with people before, or is this just me?
Well, I want to go back to the disagreement part because I don't
Okay,
think we disagreed so far because
okay,
again, it's up to the individual. So you in your situation, no, that would not be a good scenario if you were scrolling through that political social media stuff that a lot of people post. That sounds like that strikes you as a negative. Now, if there's somebody say like that has ADHD and they have a lot going on in their mind, sometimes that literally can be a decompression kind of
okay,
situation for them. So that can be a checkout mindless scroll for them because they do have such active minds. That little bit of social media while they've got other thoughts going on in their mind could actually help them to decompress. For you, no, doesn't sound like
okay,
that's working.
okay.
I'm not sure if I touched on that question, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
it's
yeah.
addressed. It does
Okay,
depend on the individual if it's going to positively or negatively impact them.
okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, when we're thinking about going back to the person who they want to work out, they're still struggling. Do you recommend someone set SMART goals, or is there some other better framework? I know I first heard about SMART goals probably 20 something years ago. I know lots has changed in the past 20 something years, or has it not?
Okay, so SMART goals are great. It works for some people, and if that works for that individual, use it. Why not? But everybody's different, so it just depends on the individual. I would suggest use whichever goal type works for you. Um, if I were going to meet with somebody and kind of go over their goals, maybe the SMART goals aren't working for them, I'd probably start with their motivation. There's
Okay.
something called motivational interviewing, and we would really dive into Why are they working out? Is it for physical fitness? Is it they want to look a certain way? Are they doing it because they just went to the doctor and the doctor says they need to lose some weight?
Yep.
What are their reasons? And that motivation is going to help drive their goals and help them become successful in reaching those goals. So that is really important. Once we know what it is, we want to visualize those goals and really use visual imagery to see themselves successful. If they are doing it to lose weight, then they're going to envision that really lean body and they're going to see how that looks and how that feels. And they're going to keep that vivid imagery in their mind as they work towards reaching their goals. That's going to motivate them. So the visual imagery is important. I would also suggest that they start small. If this is something that they've tried and have had difficulty with, make sure they're not setting their initial goals too big. And then if they're not successful with those SMART goals, then we're going to work towards identity-based goals. And that's where you really think about the type of person that you want to be. So that's not like saying, hey, I want to be like you. It's more, I want to be a healthy individual. I want to be somebody that works out. I want to be somebody that goes to the gym or, goes for runs, and really think about that type of lifestyle that you want to have. And that could help you have identity-based goals. There's an alternative to SMART called WHOOP. It's WOOP. So if you're an Aggie, it's not.
I was about to say, I'm totally shocked that you were telling us about whoop.
I have a hard time with that one because I always want to put that H in there. But it's WOOP, and it's different kind of goal setting, and it stands for wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. And it
so
really
wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so basically it takes into account the if-then aspect, and it gets more into the psychological aspect. If I come home from work and I'm too tired, then I will sit down and do 10 sit-ups instead of going to the gym. It's just kind of those backup plans to help you prevent no working out.
Yeah. So I call that, what's your floor? That's the question I like to ask people is, what's your floor?
Okay.
Right. What is the bare minimum you are going to do every single day? This is great for my personal training clients who only work out with me twice a week. Right. And twice a week is great. We could focus on some stuff that still leaves 5 days for them to do something. Okay. So what's the minimum that we're going to do? Minimum is we're going to go take the dogs for a walk twice in a day, for example.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about the envision or what's your goal? I want to look. I want that those Greek statues of gods. I want to look like that. So much so that my wife inadvertently walks into the bathroom as I'm stepping out of the shower. She sees me and in a moment of passion faints because of what I look like. And I will tell you, I'm in the best shape of my life, and that has not yet happened. So now we go back to setting realistic goals. Yeah, yes. I may need a conversation on that part.
Yes, definitely keep the realistic part involved. I'm not saying that you couldn't do that, but that's something you might have to answer.
Yeah. Okay. So the whoop was wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. So what am I going to do? Because we've got busy, we've got jobs, we've got bosses, we've got customers, we've got kids. Something's going to come up. So then what's our plan for when something comes up?
Exactly. It's trying to prevent you from just stopping, an all or nothing kind of situation. You want to make sure you have those backup plans.
Okay. Awesome. Lots of people, I own a gym. We get a big rush of people who come in January from those New Year's resolutions. And I think the average person, not at my gym, but the average person doesn't even make it through January. And I think it's like 85% of people don't make it to February 7th. For some reason, that date is in my head. I know that at my gym, we can get people through that hump. But what would you tell people who have difficulty getting through kind of that first hurdle, that happens at about the 3 to 4 to 5 week mark?
Okay. So where they start stopping?
Yes. Where we've reached the momentum has worn off, right? The excitement has worn off. Now we're kind of getting into the grind, which, no one wants to grind through life, right? So how do we make it through that step?
Okay, so I would talk to somebody about what they feel like is coming up, what is causing them to stop. The newness, like you said, has worn off, so that just kind of down to the repetitive act of going to the gym, and what's preventing them. Are they getting sore? Are they tired? Are they? Do we need to look into things like a diet change to give them more energy, or the timing that they do it? Is it they're trying to do it at, you know, 8 p.m. at night when really they're an 8 a.m. kind of person for working
Yeah.
out. I would talk to them about problem solving skills, make sure they understand that, really identifying the problem, once they figure out what is their core reason for not going. And then we would identify the problem, figure out some possible solutions to the problem, pick the best one, go with that and see if it works. And if not, try another solution. I would really, this is what I would do as a therapist, is really
Okay.
dive into their self-talk statements. What
Okay.
would they telling themselves? Yeah, exactly. Are they telling themselves negative things like "I can't do this"? We would replace that with more positive self-talk, and that's very basic. But yes, you can do this. Are they feeling tired, and that's their focus? Maybe we would flip it and think about what they feel like after they work out.
Okay.
So for them to really envision and feel that feeling and focus on that feeling of after the workout. Do they feel happy? Do they feel proud of themselves for getting up and doing it? Do they feel like they've made an achievement by going, and use that as their motivation and their energy to get to that gym? I would also talk to them about just noticing if they're rationalizing about not going to the gym, like, "Hey, I worked out 2 days ago. I don't have to
Yeah.
go." Or "I'm too tired and I have a big day tomorrow, so I need to rest." That rationalization, we need to catch that and reframe it. So we are actually making a choice, like, okay, I'm making excuses here, recognizing that, and then choosing, okay, I am choosing to make an excuse and not go to the gym. You accept that, or you identify it and you change it. Like, okay, I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm actually going to go to the gym today. And these are the reasons why. I'm working on this, and I'm visioning my fit self and all these other reasons that we talked about before from the motivational interviewing, and keep those in mind. Do they have any fears or anxieties? Are they afraid that they're going to fail? Are they anxious about showing up at the gym and they hadn't come for a couple of days?
Yeah.
Looking at those reasons, because maybe there's ways that we can problem solve those, like taking a friend, get them a free membership for a week so that you can get back into the gym. Just kind of problem solving and looking at the reasons why they're not going and see if we can find some solutions.
Okay. So you just listed like 5 or 6 different reasons why people are, it sounds like self-sabotaging themselves,
Sure.
right? Um, you also started that little piece with talking about how rewiring the brain. So is it true that our brain can be rewired from away from, or let's not like we are constantly wiring our brain, correct?
Yes.
So if I'm going on with the excuses or the negative self-talk or all the things that's wrong with me, right? And I have this super long list of all the things that are wrong with me. Um, if I stick on that my brain, I'm warping my brain into a different place. But what you're saying is you could help me go into a different direction and flip some of that negative self-talk into positive self-talk. I could, instead of making excuses, I could think about the outcome and how to feel afterwards and all those things. And that would rewire my brain now and for the future. Is that correct?
I'm saying we could go through the process. It
Okay.
depends on you and how much work you want to put into it.
Okay.
Could definitely 100% become easier if you are an active client and you are actively working on rewiring your self-talk
Yeah.
statements. It becomes more efficient and quick and automatic. The more that you practice them, the more that you're aware of what's going on, and the more that you try to change those. So if you have a long history, for example, of making excuses as to why you shouldn't go to the gym at the last moment when you've been planning on going all day, if you become aware of that and practice automatic combating or reframing those negative self-talk statements and excuses, basically, and repeatedly reframe those, it becomes easier and it does become more automatic. It's going to be up to you if you feel like they ever go away, or you
Okay.
need to wire your brain. But yes, it can definitely 100% become easier over time. And then you start to develop those habits and routines that also just make it that much easier to not even think about it anymore because you are automatically going.
Yeah. Yeah. And would you say that, I mean, if I do that regarding like going to the gym, which has been our example so far, that then permeates everything else that I have in my life? That
I think that
positive mindset.
there's a lot of cognitive distortions, is what they're called, in self-taught
Okay.
statements. And so we would catch the different kinds that we use. And like the all or nothing thinking is one of them that I
Okay.
mentioned earlier.
Yep.
If you typically use that a lot in your life, it could be at the gym or it could be at work or marriage or whatever, or friendships, then yes, if you are aware that you use that one a lot, then yes, that could become easier to permeate into other areas of your life where you could catch it and reframe it and
Gotcha.
change it.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. When we think about adding structure and routine to our day, because I'm a huge believer. Like I tell people, willpower doesn't exist, but structure does.
Yeah.
What do you have to say or think? What are your thoughts on that topic of helping us go toward the goal that or stop self sabotaging ourselves?
Okay. If we develop a routine that we are consistently using to get to the gym, that's going to take away the decision fatigue, the fact that you have to decide every day, am I going
Yeah.
to the gym? Am I, and then, oh my gosh, nothing's where it should be. I don't even have clean workout clothes. It takes all that away,
Yeah.
it's just an automatic kind of thing. It also, if we have a routine set up, it decreases the chance that we're going to back out because it's our routine. This is what we do. We have it in place. We have our workout clothes and our water bottles and everything all ready to go by the door. It's familiar to us. It's not negotiable anymore. We've got it on our calendar, our personal calendar, our shared calendar. We have externalized this routine as well. Maybe we've taken the routine and we make sure that our whole family knows about it. So we've written
Yeah.
out our routine. We might even put it in a page protector, post it on the wall, or
Okay.
we can take a dry erase marker and check it off as we go. I'm going to the gym. This is my routine. And it's just by seeing that visually externalized, that helps as well. We could, if we have a problem initiating that routine or getting into it, developing those habits, we could habit stack where
Okay.
we have a habit that is already in place, like maybe brushing our teeth. Maybe we start doing some leg lifts while we're brushing our teeth at night or in the morning. It's just automatic. We always brush our teeth. So now that we're just going to do some leg lifts while we're brushing our teeth. We could start with a minimum baseline habit where if we don't have anything that we already do exercise wise, maybe we start with putting on our socks, our workout socks.
Okay.
And if that's too much for somebody, maybe we go and we look at those workout socks every day and we think about it and envision ourselves working out. We break it down into small little habits that we can build on until they become routine. And that's just what we do. And we don't even think about it. The less that you think about it, the more you just do it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So we don't have that chance to talk ourselves out of it.
Awesome. Awesome. So, with all the information that you've shared with us today, I mean, there's a lot here. Our listener may feel overwhelmed. What is one thing you recommend they do right now to be more consistent?
Okay. Recognize that mental fitness is part of physical fitness. So
Okay.
if you're working out, sometimes getting started is a mental fitness workout. There's sports psychology and athletes. They definitely talk a lot about
Yep.
the mental aspect of working out and their game. I would say that's really important for people to recognize that if they aren't succeeding, even the best athletes don't have 100% perfection. Sometimes they have their off days. Give
Yep.
yourself a little bit of grace. Don't quit. Try again. Even the little setbacks are positive because we can learn what's not working for us. So that's a step in the right direction so that we can figure out what does work for us. So just one foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward. I would say those are all very important. And if you still are struggling, reach out to other people that are successful in working out and get suggestions. They could contact me. I'm happy to give some of these tools that we've discussed today. They could
Yep.
use my contact form. I've got some worksheets they could use,
Okay.
just complimentary.
Where can they reach you?
𝐾𝐨𝐽𝐿𝐶𝐭.com.
Okay.
My website, there's a contact form. They can go through there, reach out, say, hey, I want to know a little bit more about these types of goals or the problem solving technique or whatever we've talked about today. And I've got tons of tools. I could send those to them. They could go to my social media, which is through my website as well. They could find those and put tips on there also.
Okay. Perfect. So the absolute best way to reach you is on your contact form at KendallCounseling.com.
That is one way. They could go online to my website as well and do the complimentary 15-minute consultation where we
Okay.
can talk.
Perfect.
That's another way. My phone number's on there, email, whichever they prefer.
Okay. Perfect. So I'll put that contact information in our show notes. I'm pointing down because that's where the show notes are going to be.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa. This has been super helpful for me. As a coach, I have several clients who, as soon as we get this posted, I'm going to send them a link to what we've talked about.
Wonderful.
Because it can be hard. It can be hard getting started and getting the ball rolling to the point where, just as you mentioned, this becomes a structured part of who we are and part of our routine, so that we're not starting and stopping and starting and stopping. It just becomes what it is.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Sure.
Okay. One of the tips that I was just thinking about right now is if exercise freaks them out, just saying I'm going to go exercise, rename it. Call it something else. Call it, whatever they're working towards. Make it fun, like Big Guns Gary or Bangin' Booty, whatever they want to call it. Make it a fun name and a motivating name to get them to exercise. Don't freak yourself out by saying I'm going to go exercise if that puts up a lot of mental blocks for you. So change the name. That would be a good tip.
I love it. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate the conversation. I hope our listeners do too. It's good seeing you, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye.